Hey Commanders fans! Welcome back to Commanders HQ, your go-to source for all things Washington Commanders. If you love breaking news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive insights, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are here every step of the way as the Commanders push to become true Super Bowl contenders. Alright, let's get into today's story. Could Washington be in the market for yet another blockbuster trade? The team has already made some major moves this offseason, and now an elite defensive playmaker might just be available. We're talking about none other than Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. Now, if you've been following the situation in Cincinnati, you know that things have been tense. The Bengals granted Hendrickson's trade request, but have been hesitant to actually move him. Many expected the team to work out an extension after recently locking up wide receivers T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. But with only weeks to go before organized team activities, OTAs, begin, Hendrickson remains in limbo. And here's the bombshell. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, sources are saying that Hendrickson is prepared to sit out, not just OTAs, not just training camp, but the entire 2025 season if he doesn't get the contract he believes he deserves. That is a massive statement from one of the league's most dominant pass rushers. Now, you might be wondering, what does this mean for Washington? Well, General Manager Adam Peters has been in full-on attack mode this offseason. The team went all in, trading for wide receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. and left tackle Laramie Tunsil, among other moves. But there's still one area that could use another elite talent: pass rush. The Commanders currently have a solid defensive front, but adding Hendrickson would take them to another level. Over the past 2 seasons, he has racked up an incredible 35 sacks, proving he belongs in the same conversation as the league's highest-paid edge rushers like Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. The problem? Hendrickson wants a contract that could exceed $30 million per year. That's a hefty price tag, but there's a catch. Washington has the ability to make it work, at least for now. With Jaden Daniels still on his rookie contract, the Commanders have a small window where they can afford to be aggressive in acquiring and paying star players before Daniels commands a massive extension. Here's where things get tricky. The Bengals initially wanted a first-round pick for Hendrickson, which was a non-starter for most teams. But with the draft approaching and his contract dispute still unresolved, that asking price may have to come down. Washington, despite its aggressive offseason, still has some draft capital to work with. If Cincinnati is willing to accept a package that includes second or third round picks, a deal could absolutely be in play. Another factor? The Bengals might prefer to move Hendrickson before the draft. If they trade him now, they can immediately turn around and use the draft picks they receive to find his replacement in what is considered a strong edge rusher class. If they wait too long, the leverage shifts back to Hendrickson, and his willingness to sit out the season could force Cincinnati's hand. Absolutely. Head coach Dan Quinn is all about aggressive attacking defense. Adding Hendrickson to a defensive front that already includes players like Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and Montez Sweat, assuming he stays, would create one of the most dominant units in the NFL. Not to mention, Washington's secondary is shaping up nicely with the addition of cornerback Marshon Lattimore. A stronger pass rush would make that unit even more dangerous. The pieces are already in place, but Hendrickson could be the final ingredient that pushes this defense from very good to elite. Now let's be real, this isn't a no-brainer. There are risks involved. Hendrickson is 30 years old, and while he's still playing at a high level, Washington would need to be confident that he can maintain that production for the next few years. Then, of course, there's the contract. Would the Commanders be willing to hand out another mega deal after already taking on Deebo Samuel's contract and looking ahead to a future extension for Jaden Daniels? It's a tough call, and it all depends on how aggressive Adam Peters is willing to be. But if the goal is to win now, then a move for Hendrickson makes a lot of sense. Washington has already gone all in this offseason, so why stop now? When the Commanders brought back veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner on a 1-year, $9 million deal. It was a move that made complete sense. Wagner, a future Hall of Famer, played a huge role in stabilizing the defense under head coach Dan Quinn. His leadership, experience, and on-field production were instrumental in helping Washington establish itself as a defensive powerhouse. But here's the reality. Wagner is 34 years old. He can't be expected to carry the load forever. And while he's still got plenty left in the tank, it's time for Washington to start thinking about the future. According to Bleacher Reports, Alex Ballentine, the Commanders should use the upcoming NFL draft to find Wagner's eventual replacement. This would allow them to bring in a young, athletic linebacker who can learn from Wagner for a season before taking over in 2026. Ballentine highlighted the importance of using this year's draft to secure a young linebacker who can develop alongside Frankie Luvu. Luvu, who is entering his second season with the team, is an absolute playmaker, but he needs a long-term partner in the middle of the defense. One name that stands out is Chris Paul Jr., a linebacker with tons of potential, but still a bit of a project. Drafting him in the third round would give Washington a chance to groom him under Wagner's leadership without forcing him into a starting role right away. The Commanders have shown a strong commitment to building a sustainable, championship-caliber roster, and finding the right linebacker to transition into Wagner's role would be a smart, long-term investment. Let's break this down. Why should Washington prioritize drafting a linebacker in 2025? Here are 3 key reasons: Wagner's age and one-year deal. Wagner is still playing at a high level, but he's not a long-term answer. By bringing in a young talent now, the Commanders can avoid scrambling to replace him next year. Quinn's defensive scheme. Dan Quinn thrives when he has fast, athletic linebackers who can fly around the field. Adding a younger, more explosive player alongside Luvu would be a great fit for this scheme. Mentorship opportunity. A rookie linebacker would have the unique opportunity to learn from one of the best to ever do it. That kind of experience is invaluable and could set up the defense for years to come. If Chris Paul Jr. isn't available, or if the Commanders choose to go in a different direction, there are other names to watch. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Clemson. The son of former Eagles, great Jeremiah Trotter. He's a high motor player with a nose for the football. Cedric Gray, North Carolina. A tackling machine who brings strong instincts and leadership qualities. Curtis Jacobs, Penn State. A well-rounded linebacker with the athleticism to use. Thrive in coverage. Each of these prospects would benefit from a year under Wagner before stepping into a full-time role in 2026. All right, Commanders fans, now it's your turn. Should Washington make a move for Trey Hendrickson? Would you be willing to give up draft capital and pay him top dollar? Or do you think the team should hold off and focus on other areas? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Commanders HQ for all the latest news, rumors, and analysis. We've got a big season ahead, and you won't want to miss a single update. Thanks for watching, and as always, hail to the Commanders. See you next time.